This is something a little bit different from what I'm what I guess I'm like used to doing. I wanted to do a manhwa like review. Not fully. This is kind of just my top 25 manhwa that like I've read like all the time. Um yeah. So yeah, these are just kind of sort of my favorite manhwas that I've really enjoyed and I guess have had an impact on me in some way. To start, most of these are not in order because I can't really put my favorites in a specific order. But if you do want some kind of depth or, you know, any of these gone over in more depth, let me know and I can speak about them. The only one that does deserve its place is Gosu, which is an absolute 10 out of 10 manhwa. Gosu is sort of this lighthearted, slow paced comedy to begin with, following our character in his daily life and the disturbances that affect his day to day. And yeah, then it begins to speed up into the semi-dark and beautifully written story. I will say the art style is not for everyone, but I myself enjoy it, or at least like I grew to like it as time went on. This one really had my heart pumping, screaming battle cries, and I was just ready for the next chapter. Yeah, and the story had a deeply kind of profound effect on me more than any other. Yeah, so that one deserves its place as first, but all the rest they're gonna be sort of scrambled out of order. Next is Windbreaker. Windbreaker is really good. It is said that it ended due to plagiarism reasons, but I've talked about it in my Catcher in the Rye video. Um, I don't know. I love the Catcher in the Rye reference. I really enjoyed that. Catcher in the Rye is one of my favorite books, and Windbreaker's story is really good, and it's just fun and exciting to see the different races and how they'll win or how they'll train for the next one. So yeah, I really love that one. Third is Unordinary. Unordinary takes place in a world similar to, I guess, My Hero. I'm not the biggest fan of My Hero, I'll be honest. But we have this character named John. I won't spoil too much, but he is or not quirkless. I forget what they use in this story, but he has no ability. Um, he's being bullied, and it just ramps up, and there's just so many twists and turns in this anime manhwa that you kind of just don't expect, and it's just like whoosh whoosh whoosh. And right now it's actually really good, so go take a read. That one, if you especially if you're into like My Hero or something similar, that one's really good. Uh, Elseed, really good. This one takes place in another sort of My Hero world, um, but I guess I shouldn't say My Hero world. It's just a world with abilities. This character, he basically is a late bloomer. He finds out he has powers. He meets this new powerful guy who becomes his mentor. This guy is one of the strongest, but he's sort of struggling because um, he accidentally did something to himself that where he would need to recover for a time being, and so he's staying with this boy who he's also training because this boy is also a new awakener, and so they form this really deep connection, and I really enjoy it. It some of these may get repetitive. I enjoy kind of this repetitive stuff, so it's kind of fighting and then training. It does have a really these do have really good stories though. I will say I won't deny that. The girl from Random Chat is so good. Uh, I will say this one is definitely up there in the top 10. Um, even if these aren't in a specific order. This guy, he meets this girl in Random Chat, and he's a big loser, respectfully, as a loser myself. But yeah, so he gets bullied, trying to find his way around the world, and then he starts training. He's trying to become better. He's falling into but he's also falling into those same dark habits. This one can be pretty dark. It does have a little bit of lightheartedness. It is another just kind of school fight manhwa, which I really enjoy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for the school fight manhwas. Speaking of school fight manhwa, How to Fight or Viral Hit. I think it goes. I don't know which one exactly goes by. But yeah, they also made an anime about this one. Um, so it is really good. Just recently ended. We have a main character who is learning to fight off of YouTube, basically, and then he's taking it to the streets. He's trying it out on actual, like, people, like his school bullies. Yeah, and he's also just becoming better, and it sort of ramps up to where he's actually fighting like gang members. I would say it's similar to Lookism. Haven't read Lookism. I do want to read Lookism though. School fight manhwa. I don't know how everyone feels about that genre, but yeah. Next up, Solo Leveling. I remember sitting in like school and just waiting for each chapter to come out of Solo Leveling before it had an anime adaptation. I would just wait every day for the next chapter, and I was reading it, and then it finally finished, and I was like, "Wow, that was amazing! I wish I got more Sung Jin Woo." And I was kind of disappointed by the epilogue, and I don't think I'm gonna read the version with the sun. It doesn't really look that interesting to me. I kind of followed it for Sun Jinwoo, and it wasn't um there wasn't really more to that for me. The boxer, the boxer was so good. It is about this emotionless guy who has been abused, and kind of just he's kind of just wandering life. He has no real purpose. He feels empty. He's suddenly picked up by this coach who is teaching him how to fight, and kind of using him just as a dog. He's taking him each belt through each belt in boxing, and he's winning, but he doesn't really have this emotional tie to the world. At any moment he could die, and he wouldn't really care. As the story goes on, the character changes in a beautiful way. He's still empty, but at the end he gains a new light of hope for himself, um, which I think is good, and I think it shined like a sort of ray of hope, for everyone, that it's not how you start, it's where you end, a type of deal. The next two fall under the same sort of category. There's school fight. They basically get this weird system in which they need a complete quest to level up. Questism and reality quest, which I don't know a specific name for. That's what I know them by. But yeah, they're both really good, and I like following the characters and kind of seeing their fights. As opponents get stronger, and sort of this backstory. I will say that one has a more, like, the power scaling in one, like it feels like it leads to something, and the ending is very, I don't know, the ending to one is very interesting. That's all I will say. Because I don't want to spoil the ending. I felt sort of unfulfilled with it. It was still really good, the ending, and I felt like it's what needed to take place. But compared to the other one, I feel like they're more so building up the characters in the world and the story, and I really like that. But both are really good, and they kind of make this list top 20. Study group is so good. You can see a theme of a lot of school fight. I guess really talented kid at fighting, and he wants to become good at studying. They have this homeroom teacher who kind of backs them and wants the best for them in this school that doesn't exactly isn't known for studying. They're kind of hardcore. They just want to be the tough guys, and he just wants to study. And so he's good at fighting, but he also wants to study. So they form a study group, which they're studying, and like everyone is trying to improve, but they're also fighting. And the teacher is also trying to uncover mysterious things around uh certain events that took place in the past. I won't say, but yeah, study group is really good with some mystery, some fighting, and all around I think the world building is good, and I think what it's leading up to is actually really interesting. So yeah, World's Strongest Troll. This one is kind of, dart in the what's it called? Dart in the thin air, whatever you want to call it. This guy is just really good at gaming. Joins this new gaming world where it's kind of like all about player's choice and kind of the free will and the things that we can enact and do in that world. And he takes the vision of free will and completely rolls with it. He has fun. He does what he wants. It is a game world, but he also kind of sees it as a real world, or at least some of the other characters do. He doesn't exactly take advantage of it, but he is full on with the free will, and the player's choice is important. So I don't know. I really like that one. I really like the message that it's giving off. I like the art style, and all around, I just like the humor and kind of the battles, and the story's really good right now. Dungeon Reset, you start off with like a goofy guy and like one of these worlds where they're like taken to a new world and they have to complete these challenges, one floor, two floor, three floor, all the way up to 400. I don't know how far it's gonna go, but the story is really good. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be. We sort of see this guy like a manufacturing class. He can pound mud together and dig holes really well, and it's like, oh haha, he's a goofy guy who with just like a manufacturing class. This isn't really going to go anywhere. He's just going to become OP. But then it actually starts getting good, and he starts kind of taking over. He's a glitch. He's not supposed to be there. Yeah, it just gets really interesting, and I think uh it's a little goofy at first, but then the story like actually kind of like draws you in. Jungle Juice. It's about this kind of spray, and it gives people powers of insects that they kind of sprayed with it, and it imbues it into them, and they become freaks of nature. They're kind of discarded by society, and then this school picks them up and gives them a chance to become students and learners, and valedictorian. The valedictorians can get this thing called Cinderella. Not really important, but our main character wants to get Cinderella so that he can go back to being a normal human. Yeah. Well written, lovely, lovely art style. I enjoy everything about it. It's so beautiful. Yeah, so I really recommend that one, especially if you're kind of in it for the art style and the really nice looking, combat scenes. That's a good one. To be an actor, this one is way different than all of the ones I've said. It's sort of kind of just a slice of life, not fully, but it's just about this guy who he's lived this life as a successful actor, and he kind of hates who he turns out to be, and at the end of it all he goes back in time to his younger self, and he begins correcting all the mistakes he made, and correcting all the regrets he made in his past life so that he can become a better person, or a person that he can come to love himself. So I think that one's really good, and I like seeing all his acting and all the different things he does, seeing how he changes in this life and how he kind of still sees some of the same patterns and begins to correct them. So I really enjoy that one. The Greatest Estate Developer. This one is just about an insane man who takes advantage of everyone, but always in a respectful way. He takes advantage to where he can make profit, but they also live good lives. And he doesn't he doesn't make life harder for them. Honestly, he makes life easier for them. He creates a more advanced world. It's a little bit like I got reincarnated as a slime, but if the guy was just a money hungry demon. The art style is absolutely hilarious. Some of the shots you'll get of him are pretty funny. Overall, really good. Dice is a manhwa about um, the luck of the draw and how like everyone's life is decided by a dice roll at the beginning. And if you roll a 1, you're gonna get a pretty bad life. You roll a 6, you're gonna get a pretty good life. And then you know these people with these people kind of discover ways in which they are able to kind of take advantage of said system and become better. It's sort of school fight, but also there's a bigger entity at hand. Um, let's just say it. The story is really good, and it sort of gets reverted all at the end. It's sort of something you can make peace with as well after reading the whole thing, end to end. Killer Peter is pretty new, but the chapters are so good, and the art style is absolutely beautiful. So this guy named Peter, he becomes old and I think cancer ridden. What the heck? Yeah, life isn't really working out. You know, he's not the same guy he once was. And then boom, he's back to his old self, and the organization is still trying to kill him. But he's in top tier condition, fighting these guys. Yeah, it's really good. And we also get a load of backstories from all the like different people in the organization, and it's really interesting. And I really love this one. It's a bit shorter compared to the other ones, but it is one of the better ones that I've read as recently. I discover a lot of manhwa. Shark is a really good manhwa. It's about this well-natured guy who commits a mistake when he's younger. He needs to go to jail and sort of, pay for his crimes. And yeah, I think it's a good thing on like, the past doesn't define you. He trains via mentor in prison who is one of the world's top boxers, or sorry, top, MMA fighters. Um, and then he himself decides that he will become another great MMA fighter, and he does it. And I just like seeing the fights and the different character dynamics in the story, and how the main character himself will change and grow during the fights. So yeah, that's my top manhwa list. If you guys want some other ones, I don't know. I kind of read a lot. I wouldn't say I can give out specific recommendations, but yeah. Or if you want me to read any manhwas, I'm down. Anyway, yeah. Peace out and bye.